Sarancha sarato nyatva asarancha asarato te sarang adhi gachanti sama sankappa gochara. So while this is the twin/pair of verse 11, the syntax or the grammar of this first line is different. The second line, te sarang adhi gachanti, remains the same. Notice in this first line we have two chas. Normally that might just mean and, this first clause and the second one. But I think this first cha is contrasting with verse 11. And then the second cha is the and. We're getting the and. They could both be and. But in English, I think the first one is clearer if we translate it as but. So let's start with our nyatva. This is the absolutive, also called the gerund, of janati, from this root jana, to know. We ultimately get our word know, K-N-O, from that root, or I should say from the root of that root in Proto-Indo-European. Now, a standard way to translate the absolutive would be to say something like having known. And we're going to come back and look at this a little more fully. Having known, now this nyatva takes a direct object, sarancha. Keep in mind, sarancha is really saraṃ and cha. This is what happens when these two come together. This palatalized n. So nya, and that's in the same line as cha, meaning that our tongue is in the same place to pronounce nya and cha. So that's the direct object, that's the accusative, neuter, singular. Then we have sarato. This ato is a variant form of the ablative. The ablative can express, or I should say it mainly expresses separation from, but it can also express motive, cause, reason. We can see this in de Roysel, section 600, section 11. Sometimes this is translated as having known the essential as the essential, and that makes sense. I think we could also say having known the essential because of the essential, through the essential. I think the idea is that by focusing upon the essential, they come to know the essential. And this second cha, we have to understand nyatva again. They know the unessential through, by means of, on account of the unessential. Again, by recognizing the unessential, they know the unessential. They develop a sense of the unessential. The second line, as we said, is really the same. It's just a non-negated main verb. Te sarang adhigachanti. They acquire the essential. And then here, this last little bit is almost the same. Instead of mitcha, we have sama. Just like in sama sankappa, the second path factor of the eightfold path. Here, grazing upon right intention, or going about with the right intention or right resolve. Now, one little note about the absolutive, that is a way we can translate and understand it, the way we just did, but we could also translate it as a finite verb. Keep in mind, in Pali, there will really be one main verb, one finite verb, if other actions, if other verbs are performed before the main verb, they will be expressed as absolutives. So in English, we might simply say something like, they know the essential through the essential, and the unessential through the unessential. Then they acquire the essential. We would need to probably put in some little connection like that, in this case using the adverb then. And again, dear listener, this is obviously up to you. When we read the Pali, we do not have to make such a translation. But if you are writing out or making such a translation, these types of concerns become more important.